All right then.
Nope, that's my door.
This is your door.
Oh no, no better.
Bonding match. Access denied. Access denied. Access granted.
A shadowy organization called Eteon unleashes a deadly programmable virus, Snowflake, and frames MI6 agent Hobbs Shaw for its theft. To retrieve the virus and clear Hattie's name, the world's most unlikely duo, DSS agent Luke Hobbs and mercenary Deckard Shaw, are forced to team up. Their mission pits them against Brixton Lore, a cyber-genetically enhanced Eteon operative from Shaw's past, leading to globe-trotting chases, explosive battles, and a showdown in Hobbs' ancestral Samoa.
We're running out of road! Hey! Huh? You trust me?
There he is.
I wanna go feed.
Oh, I'm a fan. Fantastic. Bad guy. What you got, big one? Jacket, don't do that. Hi, sweetheart. We're gonna play a little game. It's called Hangman.
I swear, I don't know.
No outfit. Black tech.
Yeah. Don't leave me. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Look, hold on. I a lot of things right now. Like a nightmare. This whole thing. Everybody I hunt.
How long have you been doing?
Each other when they're actually like.
Okay, look. Me and the spy lady were. I love you.
Love you.
God damn it!
That's not lunch, because it's dinner time.
Get your greasy sausage fingers off us.
And your goddamn girlfriend ain't going anywhere.
That's the
Bullshit. She's too good looking to
Everyone's gonna die because I am the virus.
Hey! Sure!
toilets there, son. State of the art.
You done with that a lot?
It's a shame you didn't join Eteon. Way better. I'm the future.
Going.
No, you.
Disable the car. I need the girl alive.
Get in line. Balls like skyrocketing with the boom of a shotgun.
A good side, I got a bad side, even if I die. Yeah.
With some action.
I am the evolution.
You might want to.
Dealing with here?
Long story.
So being chased by the Terminator.
Yes.
Well, I don't think you can see over the steering wheel.
Fuck. All right then.
Nope, that's my door.
This is your door.
Oh no, no better.
Bonding match. Access denied. Access denied. Access granted.
Necessary shock to the system.
Ain't that right, Hattie? Let's roll.
You think? Get a move on!
We're running out of road!
Hey! You trust me?
There he is.
Too quick, heads.
Get her! Stop! All right! Let's go, Jonah!
Breathe in nice and easy.
The moon side! Now!
My turn.
Let's go, let's go! Hit that snake! We're losing the runner! Hey! Jump! Losing power! Jump! Hey, get up! You see the extraction timer?
Yeah, you keep telling yourself
Whether you like it or not.
just metal they filled your head with.
You know that?
I got it.
Hey guys, today we are diving headfirst into a world where physics is merely a suggestion and family is everything, even when that family is utterly dysfunctional. We're breaking down Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs Shaw, a standalone thrill ride that takes two of the most explosive personalities from the main franchise and unleashes them upon the cinematic landscape. Prepare for a recap that's as over the top as the movie itself, full of impossible stunts, hilarious banter, and more brawn than you can shake a genetically engineered stick at. If you had a good time with this, a like and a subscribe is a free way to help me keep making more. Our story kicks off in a high-tech facility in London, pulsating with the silent hum of advanced machinery. MI6 agents move with practiced precision, their boots softly scuffing the polished floors. Suddenly, the sterile calm is shattered by a series of sharp metallic clangs from above, followed by the rapid thud of feet hitting the ground. Hattie Shaw, an MI6 operative, moves with a determined urgency, her eyes scanning the digital readouts of a highly secure containment unit. She's on a mission to retrieve something called Snowflake, a dangerous programmable virus that could wipe out humanity with a few lines of code. The air crackles with tension, a silent hum of anticipation. Outside, the London rain begins to patter softly against the reinforced windows, a stark contrast to the brewing storm within. The facility's alarms begin to wail, a piercing, insistent shriek that echoes through the corridors, signaling an intrusion. Suddenly, a figure clad in a sleek black suit descends from the ceiling like a phantom, landing with a soft, almost soundless thud. This is Brixton Lore, a man who moves with an unnatural fluidity, his every motion calculated and precise. His dark, menacing eyes fixate on Hattie. Before she can react, Brixton's men, a squad of highly trained mercenaries, burst through the reinforced doors, their weapons raised, the cold click-clack of their automatic rifles filling the air. Hattie, quick-bitted and agile, quickly disarms one of them, the sharp crack of the rifle stock against the mercenary's jaw echoing through the room. She moves like a whirlwind, a flurry of punches and kicks, each one landing with a satisfying thud. But Brixton is different. He's faster, stronger, his movements defying normal human capabilities. When Hattie tries to land a punch, his hand shoots out, catching her fist with an impossible speed, the slight whoosh of displaced air preceding his move. His eyes glow with an eerie blue light, a clear sign that he is more than human. He delivers a devastating kick, the sound of Hattie's body hitting a steel console reverberating through the facility. Brixton reveals his objective, the snowflake virus. He's working for a shadowy organization called Eteon, a group that believes humanity needs to evolve, even if it means forced extinction and genetic manipulation. Hattie, recovering quickly, realizes the gravity of the situation. She knows she can't let him get his hands on the virus. In a desperate act, she smashes the containment unit, the glass shattering with a loud tinkling crash, and injects the virus into her own body. A gasp escapes Brixton's lips, a rare moment of surprise. The virus is now inside her, protected by her biology, but also slowly killing her. Brixton, enraged but impressed by her audacity, brands her as the thief and frames her for the attack. His men open fire, the loud pop-pop-pop of their silenced weapons filling the air, as Hattie makes her daring escape, leaping through a reinforced window, the glass exploding outwards with a deafening crash, tumbling into the rainy London night. The alarms continue their mournful song, marking the beginning of a global crisis. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, we catch up with Luke Hobbs, a DSS agent of formidable size and even more formidable will. He's in Los Angeles, leading a raid on a warehouse filled with heavily armed criminals. The air is thick with the smell of stale beer and gun oil. Hobbs moves with a primal force, each punch landing with a sickening thud, each kick sending a ripple of fear through his opponents. The metallic clatter of dropped weapons and the pained grunts of men fill the space. He's a one-man wrecking crew, a mountainous figure of muscle and grit, barking orders in a deep, gravelly voice that vibrates through the very foundations of the building. His movements are surprisingly agile for his size, a blur of motion as he dismantles the criminal operation. He captures their leader, a sniveling coward, with a casual ease, the man's whimpers barely audible beneath Hobbs's triumphant roar. It's a typical day for Hobbs, pure, unadulterated ass-kicking. Later at home, we see a softer side as he coaches his daughter Sam in a Samoan war dance, his booming voice offering encouragement, the soft thud of their bare feet on the wooden floor grounding him. Across the pond, in a stark contrast to Hobbs's boisterous world, Deckard Shaw is enjoying a quiet, meticulously ordered life in London. He's in his luxurious penthouse, preparing a gourmet meal, each slice of vegetable a precise surgical cut. The clinking of fine china and the soft hiss of sizzling food are the only sounds. He's a man of refined tastes, a former assassin who now operates in the shadows, choosing his battles carefully. His phone rings, a crisp digital tone, cutting through the domestic calm. It's his sister, Hattie, her voice strained, an urgent tremor in her words. She's in deep trouble, being hunted, framed. The call is abruptly cut off, a sudden click of disconnection, leaving Shaw with a cold, ominous feeling in his gut. He knows Hattie well enough to know she wouldn't call unless it was truly dire. He quickly dons his signature tailored suit, the fabric rustling softly as he moves, the sharp click of his expensive shoes on the marble floor marking his exit. Both Hobbs and Shaw receive cryptic calls from their respective intelligence contacts. For Hobbs, it's Locke, a frantic, slightly unhinged CIA agent who speaks in rapid-fire bursts, the frantic tone of his voice almost comical. He tells Hobbs about the stolen snowflake virus and the MI6 agent who went rogue, mentioning her by name, Hattie Shaw. Locke paints Hattie as a dangerous traitor, urging Hobbs to retrieve the virus at all costs. For Shaw, it's a more reserved MI6 contact, relaying similar information but with a different emphasis. Hattie is a suspected rogue, but Shaw's contact knows Hattie is good. The virus is the priority. Neither man is explicitly told they'll be working together, but the seed of their forced alliance is sown. They are both tasked with finding Hattie, though for very different reasons. The sheer irony of two men who despise each other being pointed in the same direction, unknowingly on a collision course, is palpable. Their paths collide in a drab, clandestine CIA black site in London. The room is dimly lit, the air thick with unspoken tension. Hobbs enters first, his massive frame filling the doorway, a low growl rumbling in his chest. Shaw follows, his movements sleek and predatory, his gaze sharp and calculating. They immediately lock eyes, the air between them practically sparking with animosity. The polite greetings from the CIA briefers are drowned out by their instant mutual contempt. "You," Hobbs snarls, his voice like grinding tectonic plates, "what are you doing here?" Shaw, ever the master of the cutting remark, responds with a sardonic smirk. Saving the world, apparently, from a hulking Neanderthal who probably thinks the internet is a series of tubes. The briefers try to interject, explaining the dire situation, the race against time. But Hobbs and Shaw are too busy trading insults, their voices rising in volume, the verbal jabs landing with the precision of well-aimed blows. Hobbs calls Shaw a tea-swilling pretty boy. Shaw retorts by calling Hobbs a t-shirt-tearing troglodyte. It's a comedy of errors, a verbal sparring match that somehow manages to highlight their respective strengths and weaknesses, all while the world teeters on the brink. A screen flickers to life, showing surveillance footage of Hattie Shaw, looking distraught and panicked, confirming her involvement. The briefers explain that she is believed to have injected the virus into herself to protect it, turning her into a walking, ticking biobomb. They need to find her, extract the virus, and fast. The clock is ticking, ticking, ticking. This new information, the desperate urgency of Hattie's condition, barely registers through their incessant bickering. They finally agree, grudgingly, to work together, if only to outdo each other, the unspoken competition a new driving force. The briefers lay out the intel. Hattie was last seen making contact with a shady informant, known for dealing in high-tech information on the fringes of London's underworld. The informant's known haunt, a grimy, neon-lit club in the city's East End. The London rain continues its relentless patter as Hobbs and Shaw arrive at the designated club, its pulsating bass thumping against the pavement, a stark rhythm to the impending chaos. Inside, the air is thick with smoke, cheap perfume, and the thrum of illicit activity. Neon lights cast a lurid glow over the dancing bodies. Hobbs, a bull in a china shop, pushes his way through the crowd, his sheer size parting the sea of revelers. Shaw, more subtle, glides through the shadows, his eyes scanning every face, every corner, a predator in his element. They find their target, a twitchy informant, huddled in a back booth, his eyes darting nervously. Hobbs grabs him by the collar, lifting him effortlessly, the man's feet dangling above the sticky floor, his pathetic squeak barely audible over the music. Shaw, leaning in, his voice a low, dangerous whisper, extracts the information. Hattie is meeting with a specific contact, in a specific alley, at a specific time. The informant, sweating profusely, points to a grainy photo, revealing the rendezvous location. The information is precise, concise. They race to the alley, the squeal of their tires on the wet pavement a prelude to the unfolding drama. Hattie is there, a solitary figure, illuminated by the flickering streetlights, her face etched with fear and panic. Before they can even approach her, a sleek black armored convoy, almost futuristic design, screeches into the alley, its headlights blinding, its engines roaring like predatory beasts. Brixton Lore emerges from one of the vehicles, his cybernetic enhancements shimmering under the dim light, his presence radiating an undeniable menace. His men, a phalanx of silent, efficient killers, surround Hattie. She sees Hobbs and Shaw, her eyes widening in a mixture of surprise and panic. "You too? What are you doing here?" she yells, her voice strained. Before they can answer, the firefight erupts. The alley becomes a chaotic symphony of gunfire, the sharp crack of rounds echoing off brick walls, interspersed with the deeper thuds of Hobbs' punches and the swish of Shaw's precise kicks. Hobbs is a wrecking ball, tearing through Brixton's men, sending them flying with bone-jarring impacts, the metallic clang of their helmets hitting the ground. Shaw moves with a balletic grace, disarming and incapacitating with deadly efficiency, his movements economical yet devastating. He's all precision and calculated violence. Hattie, though trapped, fights back fiercely, her MI6 training kicking in, each block and parry a testament to her resilience. Brixton, however, is a force multiplier. His advanced vision allows him to predict their moves, his enhanced strength making him almost untouchable. He engages Hattie, their brief hand-to-hand exchange marked by the rapid-fire thuds of their blows, but he quickly overpowers her, his grip like steel. Hobbs and Shaw realize they need a vehicle, and fast. They spot a custom motorcycle, a sleek, powerful machine, parked at the end of the alley. Shaw, with a smirk, hotwires it in seconds, the engine roaring to life with a satisfying growl. Hobbs, with a surprising agility, leaps onto the back, his bulk barely fitting behind Shaw. "You ride, bitch," Shaw shouts over the engine's roar, a sly jab at Hobbs's masculinity. The chase is on. Brixton's convoy speeds away, disappearing into the labyrinthine streets of London. Shaw weaves through traffic with reckless abandon, the motorcycle a blur of chrome and speed, its tires squealing around corners, narrowly avoiding double-decker buses and taxis. Hobbs, holding on for dear life, his massive frame leaning with every turn, becomes an improbable passenger on this high-octane ride. The pursuit takes them through the bustling streets of London, a vibrant tapestry of sights and sounds. The cacophony of car horns, the distant wail of sirens, the hurried chatter of pedestrians, all blend into a blur as they chase Brixton's convoy. Brixton, in his armored vehicle, drives with cold precision, weaving through traffic, his driver following his exact commands transmitted through an earpiece. Hobbs and Shaw on the motorcycle are a spectacle of improbable physics. Shaw, leaning hard into turns, his knee scraping the asphalt, the bike a blur of motion. Hobbs, using his incredible strength, reaches out, grabbing onto passing vehicles, using them for leverage, swinging himself and the bike forward, often ripping off rearview mirrors with a tearing sound, or leaving dents in car doors with a dull thud. At one point, Shaw detaches the motorcycle, turning it into two separate bikes. "Split," he yells, and the motorcycle parts down the middle with a whirring mechanical sound, leaving Hobbs on his own, steering with his massive hands, a comical look of surprise on his face. This is where the movie truly leans into its Fast and Furious heritage, defying gravity and logic with glee. Brixton, anticipating their moves with his cybernetic enhancements, leads them through a series of increasingly elaborate traps. His men emerge from side alleys, firing at Hobbs and Shaw, the ping-ping-ping of bullets deflecting off their bikes. Shaw, with a fluid motion, swerves to avoid a volley of gunfire, the wind whipping past his face, the air smelling of burnt rubber. Hobbs, riding alongside, uses his body as a shield, grunting as a stray bullet ricochets off his shoulder, his sheer mass absorbing the impact. They find themselves on a bridge, Brixton's convoy speeding ahead. Brixton uses his predictive algorithms to cause traffic pileups, cars screeching and slamming into each other with a series of loud, crunching impacts, creating a barricade of twisted metal and shattered glass behind him. Hobbs and Shaw navigate the chaos, their bikes leaping over disabled vehicles with a satisfying thud. They finally reach the Hydra Lab, a pristine white room filled with complex machinery. The Hydra device itself is a sleek silver contraption, humming with latent energy. But it's not unguarded. A squad of Eteon's elite soldiers, clad in armored suits, springs into action, their weapons raised. The rapid crackle of their energy rifles fills the air. The fight is intense, a blur of motion and sound. Hobbs, roaring, charges forward, his massive fists connecting with armored chests, the loud thud clank of his blows echoing through the lab. He sends soldiers flying, their bodies slamming into sterile walls with sickening impacts. Shaw, nimble and precise, targets weak points in their armor, his knives slicing through vulnerable joints with a sharp swoosh, disabling them with practiced ease. Hattie, using a combination of hand-to-hand combat and quick thinking, disarms soldiers, then uses their own weapons against them, the sharp pop-pop-pop of the stolen firearms adding to the cacophony. As they fight, Brixton Lore, alerted to their intrusion, broadcasts a chilling message over the facility's intercom, his modulated voice echoing through the lab. "You cannot escape your destiny, defectives. Eteon will cleanse the world." His words are punctuated by the sounds of his approaching footsteps, a rhythmic, heavy thud that promises imminent danger. The fight intensifies. Hobbs spots the Hydra device, but it's housed within a reinforced containment field, humming with a low frequency. Shaw quickly identifies the power conduits and, with a series of frantic keystrokes on his hacking device, manages to overload the system. Sparks fly, the containment field flickers and dies with a sudden hiss, and the Hydra device is accessible. They grab the Hydra device, its metallic casing cool to the touch, and make a run for it. Just as they are about to exit the lab, Brixton appears, blocking their escape, his eyes glowing with an angry blue light. "Give me the virus," he demands, his voice low and menacing. He raises his enhanced arm, and a wave of concentrated energy blasts towards them, tearing through the air with a faint whoosh. Hobbs, with a roar, shoves Hattie and Shaw out of the way, taking the brunt of the blast on his massive back, the impact sending him staggering, a grunt of pain escaping his lips. The blast leaves a burning smell in the air. Shaw, always thinking ahead, notices a large automated drone on a charging station nearby. "Hobbs, the drone!" he shouts. Hobbs, his muscles straining, rips the drone from its charging station, its heavy frame groaning under his grip. He hurls it at Brixton, the drone spinning through the air with a loud whirring sound. Brixton, surprised, manages to deflect it with his arm, but the impact throws him off balance, giving them a precious few seconds. They burst through a fire exit, triggering a new set of alarms, their piercing wail adding to the growing chaos within the facility. Their escape route leads them through the facility's ventilation system, a dark, grimy network of tunnels, their footsteps echoing with hollow thuds. The air is stale and metallic. They crawl, slide, and squeeze through tight spaces, the scraping of their clothes against metal. Hobbs, being the largest, struggles the most, his grunts of effort punctuating the silence. They finally emerge into a large, dimly lit warehouse filled with crates and heavy machinery. Sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. Brixton's men are closing in, their heavy boots thudding on the concrete floor. They commandeer a large transport vehicle, its engine coughing to life with a loud groan, and crash through the warehouse doors, sending splinters of wood flying with a deafening crack. The vehicle careens through the desolate Ukrainian landscape, snow swirling around them, the wind howling. Brixton, in hot pursuit, dispatches his advanced drones, sleek, silent predators that swoop down, firing energy blasts, their whirring blades cutting through the air. Hobbs, driving like a maniac, swerves to avoid the blasts, the truck rattling and shaking with each near miss. Shaw, perched on the roof of the truck, uses a stolen energy rifle, its sharp pew-pew sound, to shoot down the drones, their exploding wreckage falling to the snow-covered ground with a series of muffled thuds. Hattie, inside the truck, tries to configure the Hydra device, its complex interface blinking with cryptic data. They eventually lose the drones and Brixton's immediate pursuit, but they realize the Hydra device needs a special power source, a charging station that Eteon has yet to develop beyond their main facility. They have the extractor, but it's useless without power. Hattie's condition is worsening, a hacking cough escaping her lips, her skin growing pale. The urgency is palpable. They contact Madame M, who informs them of a rogue Eteon power core located in, wait for it, Samoa, Hobbs' ancestral home. The irony is not lost on anyone. Hobbs is less than thrilled. "Samoa? You want me to go home?" he grumbles, a mix of annoyance and longing in his voice. Shaw, ever the instigator, immediately starts making jokes about flower shirts and grass skirts, earning him a sharp glare from Hobbs. The journey to Samoa is long, a quiet interlude of uneasy peace on a cargo plane, the distant roar of its engines a constant drone. Hattie, weakened, rests in a makeshift medical bay, her breathing shallow. Hobbs, despite his gruff exterior, shows moments of concern, checking on her, his hand gently touching her forehead. Shaw, always observant, notices these small gestures. When they arrived in Samoa, the contrast couldn't be more stark, from the freezing, desolate landscape of Ukraine to the lush, vibrant, sun-drenched beauty of the island. The warm, humid air, thick with the scent of salt and tropical flowers, is a welcome change. Hobbs' reunion with his family is, to put it mildly, tense. He hasn't been home in decades, a self-imposed exile after a perceived betrayal of his family and their traditions. His mother, a formidable matriarch with eyes that miss nothing, greets him with a stoic, almost cold demeanor. His brothers, massive men like Hobbs, are initially hostile, their faces etched with resentment. Their deep, guttural voices are filled with accusations of abandonment. The sounds of the ocean waves crashing on the shore are a backdrop to the simmering family drama. Hobbs tries to explain the dire situation, the virus, Hattie's life hanging in the balance, but his words are met with skepticism and a deep-seated distrust. "You left us, Luke," his brother Jonah says, his voice a low growl. "Why should we help you now?" Shaw, surprisingly, steps in. He observes the family dynamics, recognizing the unspoken pain and pride. He uses his charm, a rare glimpse of his softer side, to bridge the gap. He speaks to Hobbs' mother with respect, explaining the urgency without condescension, painting a picture of a global threat that transcends their personal grievances. He even manages a few genuinely kind words to Hattie, recognizing her bravery. Hattie, pale and weak, manages to explain her story, her voice raspy, lending credibility to their plea. Slowly, reluctantly, Hobbs' family begins to listen. The deep sense of family, of Aiga, begins to reassert itself. Hobbs, seeing his family slowly come around, feels a pang of guilt and hope. The brothers, after much deliberation and a few more veiled insults thrown Hobbs' way, agree to help. They still have their reservations, but the family bond, though strained, is not broken.
Their immediate task: fix the Hydra device and power it up using a highly experimental, unproven Eteon power core, which requires a specific frequency and a massive surge of energy. Hobbs' family, renowned for their mechanical ingenuity and old-school engineering skills, takes on the challenge. The village erupts into a hive of activity. Hammers clang, wrenches clatter, welding torches hiss and spark, filling the air with the smell of metal and sweat. His brothers, skilled mechanics and engineers in their own right, begin to dismantle and reassemble the device, their calloused hands moving with surprising dexterity. They jury-rig a colossal power generator using old car engines, batteries, and whatever spare parts they can find, the engines roaring to life with a tremendous, thunderous rumble that vibrates through the entire village. The village elders perform ancient rituals, their chants a low, rhythmic hum to bless their efforts and steel their resolve. It's a beautiful blend of ancient tradition and modern necessity. Meanwhile, Brixton Lore and his Eteon forces are closing in. He tracked them to Samoa, his network of surveillance satellites and advanced tech making escape nearly impossible. Brixton, furious at their continued defiance, plans to obliterate Hobbs' village and retrieve the virus from Hattie's remains. His ships, menacing black specks against the blue sky, are visible on the horizon, their engines a low, ominous thrum. Hobbs and Shaw know they can't match Eteon's firepower head-on. They have no advanced weapons, no high-tech gadgets, only their wits, their strength, and the collective ingenuity of Hobbs' family. They decide to turn the entire island into a battlefield, using the terrain and their knowledge of the land to their advantage. They create an elaborate series of traps and defenses. Nets fashioned from coconut rope, strong enough to snare an elephant, are strung between trees, swaying gently in the breeze. Trenches are dug, sharp bamboo spikes hidden at the bottom, their tips glinting ominously. Massive wooden barricades adorned with tribal carvings are erected at strategic points, looking more like ancient war defenses than modern fortifications. Even the village children are involved, gathering rocks and fashioning crude projectile weapons, their laughter echoing through the jungle. Hobbs and his brothers, using ancient Samoan fighting techniques, train for the inevitable assault. Their bodies are oiled, their muscles rippling, their war cries echoing through the jungle, a primal sound that promises vengeance. Shaw, ever the tactical genius, oversees the defensive preparations, instructing Hobbs' family on flanking maneuvers and coordinated attacks, surprisingly effective with their raw power and innate understanding of the terrain. Hattie, though still weak, helps where she can, offering insights into Eteon's military tactics. It's a true family affair, a testament to the power of community, a harmonious blend of traditional warfare and modern strategy. The air is thick with anticipation, the quiet hum of the modified Hydra device a constant reminder of the ticking clock within Hattie. The morning sun casts long shadows over the village as the Eteon forces arrive. Brixton's massive transport ships descend from the sky, their engines roaring like angry dragons, kicking up clouds of dust and debris. Soldiers, clad in sleek black armor, rappel down ropes, their boots hitting the ground with heavy thuds. Armored vehicles roll off the ships, their treads grinding the earth. The silence of the island is shattered by the thunderous arrival. Brixton, descending in a personalized dropship, his modulated voice booming over the speakers, demands Hattie and the virus. "This is your last chance," he snarls. "Surrender or be annihilated." Hobbs, standing at the forefront of his family, bare-chested and covered in tribal tattoos, lets out a guttural war cry, a primal roar that echoes through the jungle, signaling the start of the battle. His family, armed with an assortment of makeshift weapons, clubs, spears, even sharpened shovels, charge forward with equally fierce battle cries, a wave of raw, unyielding force. The ensuing battle is a symphony of controlled chaos and brutal efficiency. Eteon soldiers, initially caught off guard by the sheer ferocity of the Samoan warriors, quickly adapt. Their energy rifles blast, sending blue bolts of light tearing through the air, hitting trees with explosive thumps and kicking up dirt. But Hobbs' Amelie fights with a deep-seated knowledge of their land, vanishing into the dense foliage, reappearing in unexpected places, their movements fluid and swift. They use the jungle as their shield and their weapon. Hobbs, a one-man army, crashes through the enemy lines, his massive fists connecting with armored faces, the satisfying crunch of helmets and the pained grunts of soldiers filling the air. He rips off vehicle doors with a roar, throwing them like frisbees, sending enemy soldiers sprawling. He's a blur of muscle and fury, a force of nature unleashed. His brothers fight alongside him, a coordinated unit of raw power, their movements synchronized, their blows devastating. They use their clubs to smash through Eteon's shields, the metallic clang of wood on composite armor echoing through the jungle. Shaw, meanwhile, proves invaluable as a tactical leader. He directs the family warriors, shouting commands in English and broken Samoan, his movements precise and economical. He uses his advanced combat skills to disarm and incapacitate, his knives a blur of silver, silencing snipers with silent efficiency, the soft thud of their falling bodies. He orchestrates flanking maneuvers, leading groups of warriors around Eteon's lines, ambushing them from behind, creating diversions that leave Eteon's forces disoriented. He even manages to hotwire one of Eteon's armored vehicle, its engine roaring to life with a familiar growl, turning it against its former owners, plowing through their ranks with a series of loud, crunching impacts.
Hattie, though still battling the virus, fights with desperate bravery. She's a formidable MI6 agent, her movements swift and precise. She uses a combination of martial arts and cunning to take down Eteon's soldiers, her rapid punches and kicks landing with sharp thwacks. She helps tend to the wounded, her medical knowledge invaluable, all while trying to keep the Hydra device stable. The air is thick with the smell of gunpowder, ozone, and the earthy scent of the jungle. The Eteon forces bring in heavier firepower, giant automated mech suits, their heavy metallic footsteps shaking the ground, their Gatling guns spitting out a hail of bullets with a terrifying rattle. The villagers, though brave, find themselves outmatched. Hobbs, seeing the tide turning, calls for a desperate measure. He rallies his brothers, pointing to the largest Eteon dropship still hovering above. "We're taking that bird down," he roars, his voice filled with unwavering resolve. Using a series of strategically placed ropes and a healthy dose of pure, unadulterated willpower, Hobbs and his brothers launch themselves at the dropship, swinging through the air with a primal grace, their bodies crashing into the ship's metallic hull with a series of loud thuds. They scale the ship, tearing through its exterior with their bare hands and makeshift tools, creating entry points, their war cries echoing even above the din of battle. Inside, they engage Eteon's pilots in brutal close-quarters combat, the confined space amplifying the sounds of their struggle, the crack of bone, the grunt of effort, the metallic clang of their bodies hitting the ship's interior. They manage to disable the dropship's engines, causing it to descend rapidly, crashing into the jungle with a massive, earth-shaking explosion that sends a shockwave across the island, a towering plume of black smoke rising into the sky. The deafening silence that follows is almost more terrifying than the noise. Brixton, witnessing the destruction of his dropship, grows enraged. He decides to take matters into his own hands, his glowing blue eyes fixed on Hobbs and Shaw. He knows that with the dropship down, his forces are now vulnerable. He targets the Hydra device, knowing that if he can destroy it, he wins. He makes a beeline for Hattie, who is still trying to get the device fully operational, its lights blinking erratically. Hobbs and Shaw, seeing Brixton's intent, intercept him. They engage him in a ferocious three-way battle, their combined skills and brute force against his cybernetic enhancements. This is the ultimate showdown. Brixton moves with blinding speed, predicting their every move, his punches landing with bone-jarring force. He ducks under Hobbs' wild swing, the whoosh of displaced air, and lands a devastating kick to Shaw's ribs, sending him sprawling with a gasp of pain. But Hobbs and Shaw have learned. They start working together, anticipating each other's moves, creating distractions, setting up openings. Hobbs delivers a thunderous punch, the sound like a distant cannon, and just as Brixton recovers, Shaw sweeps his legs, the sudden loss of balance sending Brixton tumbling. They develop a rhythm, a dance of destruction. They lure Brixton into a trap, an old rusty truck, its engine sputtering. Shaw, with a smirk, hotwires it, the engine roaring to life. Hobbs jumps into the driver's seat. Brixton, regaining his footing, lunges at them. Shaw, with perfect timing, jams a wrench into the truck's accelerator, the engine screaming. Hobbs slams the truck into Brixton, pinning him against a sturdy tree, the sound of crushing metal and groaning wood. Brixton, surprisingly, isn't out. His cybernetic body begins to repair itself, sparking and hissing. The Hydra device finally hums to life, its core glowing with a bright, steady light. Hattie, though exhausted, lets out a triumphant cry. The virus is ready to be extracted. But Brixton, seeing this, makes one last desperate lunge, breaking free from the truck with an enraged roar, his eyes glowing with an even more intense blue light. He throws a massive piece of debris, a twisted metal beam, at Hattie. Hobbs, seeing it, instinctively pushes Hattie out of the way, taking the full force of the impact on his shoulder, a guttural yell escaping his lips. He's badly injured, but Hattie and the device are safe. Shaw, seeing Hobbs down and Hattie vulnerable, snaps. All the banter, all the animosity falls away, replaced by pure, focused rage. He charges at Brixton, a whirlwind of fists and feet, each blow fueled by a protective fury he rarely shows. Brixton, caught off guard by Shaw's raw emotion, struggles to predict his moves. Shaw lands a series of brutal punches, the sharp cracks echoing, each one chipping away at Brixton's seemingly impenetrable defenses. Brixton retaliates, but Shaw, in a burst of speed, ducks under his arm, grabs him, and throws him into the activated Hydra device. Brixton screams as the device overloads, its energy field crackling around him, his cybernetic systems short-circuiting with a series of loud pops and hisses. As Brixton's systems fail, the Eteon director, a mysterious voice that has been commanding Brixton, suddenly overrides his programming. "You served your purpose," the voice coldly intones. And with a final sickening crackle, Brixton's body goes limp, his glowing eyes dimming, his power source extinguished. He collapses, a broken puppet. The Hydra device, having completed its function and overloaded, powers down with a final soft whir. Hattie, with trembling hands, removes the virus from her body. It is contained, inert. The world is safe, for now.
The battle ends with the silence of victory, punctuated only by the distant sounds of the ocean and the relieved sighs of the villagers. Hobbs, though injured, manages a pained grin. Shaw, his face grim but relieved, helps him up. Hattie, exhausted but alive, embraces her brother, a genuine hug that speaks volumes. The Eteon forces that remain, leaderless and demoralized, either surrender or flee into the jungle. The village, though battered, stands victorious. The bond between Hobbs and Shaw, forged in fire and cemented by shared sacrifice, is undeniable. They still bicker, of course, that's their nature, but beneath the insults, a grudging respect, and perhaps even a hint of affection has grown. They've gone from sworn enemies to reluctant allies, and maybe, just maybe, to something akin to friends. The Eteon threat, however, looms in the background. The organization's true leader remains unknown, a shadowy figure pulling the strings, promising a future confrontation. In the aftermath, Hobbs, Shaw, and Hattie recuperate. Hobbs finally makes peace with his family, his mother's stern gaze softening into a proud smile, his brothers embracing him as one of their own. The village slowly begins to rebuild, its spirit unbroken. Hobbs decides to stay for a while, reconnecting with his roots, finding solace in the familiar rhythm of island life. Shaw, ever restless, and Hattie, keen to resume her MI6 duties, prepare to leave, but not before a series of playful jabs and veiled promises of future collaborations. The post-credit scenes hint at ongoing Eteon threats, and Locke's continued frantic efforts to track them, underscoring that the fight for humanity's future is far from over. There are even subtle nods to Shaw's mother, Queenie, suggesting more family drama to come. The adventure ends, but the story of Hobbs and Shaw, two unlikely heroes, has just begun. As the dust settles and the roar of the engines fades, we're left with the quiet hum of the ocean, a reminder of the vast, beautiful world these characters fight to protect. This story, in all its bombastic glory, ultimately reminds us that even in the face of impossible odds and superhuman threats, the most powerful forces are often the simplest: family, loyalty, and the unwavering courage to stand up for what's right. It's a testament to finding common ground, even with those you thought you could never stand, and discovering that sometimes the biggest battles are won not with the biggest muscles, but with the largest heart. Hobbs and Shaw is a ridiculous, high-octane spectacle that fully embraces its over-the-top nature, delivering pure, unadulterated popcorn entertainment. It's an explosion of charisma, humor, and utterly impossible action sequences that redefined what a spin-off could be,
It might not be Shakespeare, but it's a whole lot of fun, leaving you wondering what insane stunt they'll pull off next.